We are missing you so much at St Leonard's, and we cannot wait to welcome you all back in school when it is safe to do so. I want to start off this video by saying that we are so impressed with absolutely everybody. You are working so hard at home, and the work that you have been posting on Class Dojo is just absolutely amazing. And I think you all need to give your parents a really big hug and tell them that they have done an amazing job with you to keep your learning going. And we are just so proud of all of you. So keep on working hard. I'm making this video for you today because the government, Boris Johnson, has asked us to start to get ready to welcome some children back into school from the 1st of June, as long as everything is safe and that he is absolutely sure that you can come back. So we've been making lots of plans at St Leonard's, and I wanted to just tell you a little bit about them so that you know what to expect when you come back to school. So why are we doing this? I'm sure all of you have heard your parents talk about coronavirus. It's a virus that we've got in our country, and actually it's all around the world, that we've not seen before. So the government have got to be very careful in making sure that we try and stop coronavirus spreading around our country and spreading around the world. So you've been at home keeping yourself safe, and the number of people getting coronavirus is going down and down. So the government think that it is safe for you to come back into school, and we can't wait to see you. So they have asked us to get ready to have nursery, reception, year 1 and year 6 back into school. And then also a few children from years 2, 3, 4 and 5 whose mums or dads do jobs that are very important during coronavirus, such as nurses, carers, people who get food to the supermarkets, and lots of important jobs that help keep the country going. So, when you come into school, you will notice that we are going to ask you to wash your hands lots and lots. Now this is very important because we know, right from when we're very little, that we can catch germs and we can spread infections with our hands. So when you come into school, there's a big sink outside and you will be asked to wash your hands before you come into school. And then we are going to remind you lots and lots of times throughout the day to wash your hands. We've also ordered lots of new soap and lots of sanitizer, so you can use the sanitizer that you use before lunchtime usually throughout the whole day to keep your hands nice and clean. And that means that if you accidentally touch something with coronavirus on it, you're going to wash it off, and then you're not going to pass it on to everybody else. The other thing that we're going to ask you to do, and to be very careful about, is coughing and sneezing, because we know that if we cough or sneeze, we spread disease. So we are going to be having lots and lots of tissues around school, and if you feel like you need to cough or sneeze, you've got to do it into a tissue and put it straight into the bin. And Mrs. Ward has ordered some brand new bins with lids on, so hopefully that will help keep the nasty things in the bin. Now, you might have heard your parents talk about something called social distancing. Now, that's what we've all been doing by staying in our homes, and it basically means that we are staying away from other people so that we can't pass on coronavirus or get coronavirus. So we're going to be trying to do some social distancing in school. Now, that means that we are going to ask you to try and stay 2 meters away from everybody else. Now, I've got my props here, so you can see this is 1 meter and this is 2 meters. So away from the video camera, we are going to be asking you to stay this far away from each other when you are in school. Now, I know that that's going to be quite tricky sometimes, so we're going to be doing lots of things to help you to remember that. So there will be some signs around school, and you will also see some cones and then maybe stickers if they arrive in time around the school that will mark out 2 meters. So when you're queuing up for things, you will know where to stand so that you're not too close to somebody else. And that's to make sure that you don't cough or sneeze on them, okay? And we're also going to put some posters up that say, catch it, bin it, kill it. And that's for if you blow your nose or you cough or you sneeze, you're going to put it into the bin. The other thing that we're going to be doing is we're going to put you into much smaller groups than usual. So your classes normally have about 28 to 30 children in it. We are going to have what we call bubbles, and the bubbles are going to have no more than 15 children in them. Some of the bubbles for the little children are going to be really small, where we just have 6 or 7 children in the bubble. And then each bubble will have their own teacher and their own teaching assistant and their own dinner lady. And then everybody in that bubble will stay together all of the time. And then the bubbles won't mix. So that will reduce the spread because you will only be with a small group of children instead of absolutely everybody. So that means that some of the timings in the school day are going to be a little bit different. So everybody will have their own break time so that they can use all the space to spread out and have fun and get some fresh air. And everybody will have their own lunch time. Now, the bubbles are going to be a Year 6 bubble, and the Year 6s will have Miss Williams, Mrs. Haitley and Mrs. Hopkins, and we think that there's going to be 13 in that group. Then there's going to be a Year 4, 5 and 6 bubble, and there's only a very small number of you in that group because they're the year groups for the key workers. So we've got just 5 children and Mrs. Bryan is going to be looking after you, but at break time and lunchtime I'm going to look after you and Mr. P, so that Mrs. Bryan can have a break. Then we've got a bubble of Year 1s and Year 2s. And then on a Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday, like we normally do, Mrs. Hunt will be teaching you. And then on a Thursday and Friday, Mrs. Cook. You've also got Mrs. Green and Miss Hearn as your midday supervisor. Then the nursery and reception, they're going to be in one bubble and there's 13 of them. But then that bubble is going to split into 2 groups. So we'll have one group of 6 and one group of 7. And the adults that are going to look after you, we've got Miss Priest, Mrs. Juxon, Mrs. Pallett and Miss Byrne. So 2 adults will take one group into our new nursery room, and I'm going to show you. The teachers are working really hard on getting it ready for you, so I'll show you in a little minute. And then the other group will be in the normal Robins room, just so that you've got lots of room to play and you're not going to be tempted to stand too close to somebody else. The other thing that we're going to have to change is our drop-off and our collection times, because we've got lots of children in our school, and if all the grown-ups come at once with all the children at once, we're going to have a big group that can't keep 2 metres apart. So it's going to be a little bit like a wave coming in, and I've sent a letter to your parents to tell them what time they need to bring you into school, and it's really important that you get ready for your mums and dads in the morning as quickly as you can so that you can be at school at exactly the right time. And then outside we are going to have some spots that are how many metres apart? 2 metres apart, and you will have to queue 2 metres apart. And then your teacher from your group will call you in one at a time so that you can go to your desk. So that right at the start of the day, we are going to be 2 metres apart. Your classrooms will look a little bit different, but not really different. We're not going to take out loads and loads of furniture and put lots and lots of tape on, but we are going to give you a specific place that you are going to sit in your classroom, and it'll be your desk and it will be labelled up for you, and you will be at least 2 metres, probably a little bit more actually, away from the other children. And we're going to ask you to keep all of your own things on your desk. So you will bring in your own pencil case, a water bottle, and then some of you might have a lunch box. And we'll ask you to keep that in a tray on your desk, and it's really important that you don't touch anybody else's desk, because again, we're being very careful with our hands and we do not want to touch anything that anybody else has touched. So that's what it'll look like. We will take some things out of the classroom that are hard to clean. So teddy bears and things like that, we can't wipe clean them. So we might be taking out some things from the classroom, but it'll just make them look really tidy. Your teacher is going to plan lots of fun things for you to do, and we're going to try and take you outside as much as we can, okay? Because it's lovely weather and we know that coronavirus can't spread very easily outside. So that's what we're going to do. For lunchtime, this is going to be a bit tricky because everybody will be hungry at the same time. So what we're going to do is we're going to have different lunch times for each of the bubbles. So you will have 20 minutes where you will go and collect your dinner, and then you will have 20 minutes where you have the playground all to yourself. Okay, so we need you little ones to eat nice and quickly, and we're not going to have lunch in the hall. So what's going to happen in the morning, your teachers will tell you what the lunch options are, and you will choose, and we will write that down on a list. So Mrs. Holt will know who's ordered what, and we will take you through 5 people at a time, and you will stand at some spots so that you are ready to be called forward to collect your dinner. You will get your tray, and then you will go back to the room where your bubble is, and you will have your lunch in there with your teacher and your midday supervisor. And then you can go outside to play for 20 minutes. We would really, really like as many children as possible to have school dinners, because what we've been asked to do is to try and stop things coming in from home into school, and to stop us sending things from school home. So if you're bringing in lunch boxes, that's more things coming in from school than usual. But if you really don't like school dinners, or you really want to have your lunch, you still can. But if you feel like maybe trying it and you haven't before, we'd be really happy if you did that. Okay? So the other thing that we're going to be doing is lots and lots of extra cleaning in school. So we've ordered some spray cleaner and some extra cloths in your classroom. So when you're not using something, you might see the teachers spraying things and cleaning it. That is just to keep you safe. We are also going to have an extra cleaner coming into school, and on a Wednesday afternoon the school will be closed. So you will come to school every day, all day, apart from on a Wednesday where you will go home after lunch. And that's because we're going to have 2 cleaners that are going to do a really, really deep clean of the school on a Wednesday afternoon, halfway through the week, to make it nice and safe for you when you come back. Now, the only time that you will see teachers wearing one of these is if you have to have first aid. And the reason that we will do that is because if you've cut your knee and you need a plaster, we can't put a plaster on from 2 metres away. And we want to make sure that we don't cough or sneeze on you when we are giving you your first aid. So if you hurt yourself, you have got a first aider in your bubble. Everybody has, so you won't need to go out of your bubble. And they will just pop on a mask and some gloves and an apron, just so that they can look after you without coughing and sneezing on you. And then when they're finished, they'll take it off and they'll look normal again. The other exciting news to tell you is that we are going to have some builders in school from the 8th of June. So not in the first week, but the second week. And they are going to be building a brand new reception classroom at the back of where the Falcons classroom is. So our new reception next year are going to move into a new classroom. They're going to have fences up everywhere around it so that you can't get into the area that they're working. And they won't be coming into school at all because they've got their own toilets and little kitchen and everything outside. So you'll be nice and safe because they won't need to come into school and touch things. The other thing to say is that if when you are at school you start to feel poorly, and especially if you have a cough and a high temperature, so if you feel really, really hot, you must tell your teacher straight away, because that could mean, probably doesn't, because children don't get coronavirus very often, but it could mean that you might have the virus. So what we will do if that happens is you will come and you will sit in my office and we will call your parents to come and get you as soon as we can. And if you need some help because you're maybe one of the little ones and the teacher needs to get quite close to you, they might just pop on their mask just to keep them safe and to keep you safe as well. Now, for the children that are not coming back into school, so those who are in the year groups but their parents are still able to give them some really good lessons at home, or those children that are in years 2, 3, 4 and 5 that can't come back to school yet because Boris has said that we're just going to work on 4 year groups first. We haven't forgotten about you, and you have been doing some brilliant work, and we don't want that to stop. So Mr. P is going to be in charge of all the home learning for all of the children that are at school because he doesn't have a bubble group. So he's going to put the work onto the internet like we've been doing for the last few weeks, and he's going to be on Dojo to answer messages and to help you and to check the work that you're uploading onto there. And hopefully he will have some Teams meetings as well so that he can see you all and maybe play some games. But what I want you to know is we are starting to make plans for you to come back to school too. So it's probably going to be 3 weeks after we get the first group of children in. So you've probably got about 3 more weeks of home learning, and then hopefully we'll be able to get you back into school. Maybe not all day, but for some of the day. So what we need you to do is to keep on working hard for your parents, keep uploading your work onto Dojo because we love to see it and the teachers are missing you so much, so we want to see all of your lovely work and your lovely smiley faces. I think that's all from me for now. If you've got any questions, get your mums or dads to send me a message and I will get back to them. And I'm looking forward to seeing you all very, very soon because I'm really, really missing you. So I'm just going to take you on a quick tour around school so that you can have a look at what we've been doing and some of the things that we've been talking about. Here we go.